So let's for a moment talk about these social influences of mental health. Okay, so um, here I've created what's called 9 science-based elements of connection. What's important about this is for you to recognize that if you want to build support in your life, you can do it through these 9 science-based elements. Okay, and I'm going to share with you a little bit about it. You'll have access to this slide because you'll have the slide decks. But I will say, oftentimes people do a screenshot of this slide just as like a quick kind of reminder. So let's just talk about intentionality. So with intentionality, let's say I'm feeling a certain kind of lonely. I'm feeling like I don't have supports. I just did that social support survey and the answer was nobody. I have nobody for any of those things, whatever it is, right? With intentionality, I can make a change to this, right? If we put our attention towards something, we can create impact. And so say I'm like, okay, I really don't feel like I have support systems. It's been a long time since I reached out to my family. I'm going to make a phone call on Sunday to my mom. Or I'm going to text my sister 3 times per week. I'm going to reach out to my friends, even though I'm super busy with work, just to say hi and share a meme, right? Those with intentionality, I can build back up those support systems for myself, right? Another one, proximity. When it comes to proximity, the theory of proximity or the principle of proximity states that physical and psychological nearness to others tends to increase our interpersonal liking. So in essence, like the people that are near us, we can form social relationships with them but just by virtue of the fact that they are close to us. If you think about this, like your neighbor, maybe you would never know that person otherwise, but the fact that they're your neighbor, you might have sat around in your pajamas with them. Or if they needed something, you would, give it to them. If they called you for sugar or something like that, you would reach out to them. People that you work with in your office space, if you're, say, like in cubicles, by that proximity, they are your cubicle mate. If you need something, hey, I'm going to get a cup of coffee. Do you want something? Right? You just kind of naturally do that. And that's by virtue of proximity. Another way to build this support is through connectivity. And connectivity is really the energy that exists between people when you spend time together. So the more time you spend with having true connection with people, which requires your presence and getting to know that person, you can form a relationship, which eventually can turn into support systems. Then there's commonality. And this is a great way to really get your support systems. If you feel like you don't have support in your life, recognizing the things that you like to do and incorporating those into your life. So say like for example, I'm at a writing retreat right now because I really like to write. I'm in the process of writing a book. Well, I can say I like to write, but I'm in the process of writing a book. There are other people here at this writing retreat. I'm spending a lot of time with these people. At the end of the time that we spend together, we have in common writing books. We've been talking about writing books the whole time. And we will have a support system for writing books moving forward because we have this common link of reading, writing, whatnot. Another element is vulnerability. And so Brene Brown says the pathway to intimacy is vulnerability. So really getting to know people means that you have to be vulnerable with these people in order to kind of like build that support system. In our world, we always kind of have this like, well, I'm a professional. I really shouldn't be vulnerable because it requires some risk and some level of transparency. And perhaps we feel like the laws and rules of our, occupation govern how close we can be. But you don't have to give somebody your social security number. Vulnerability can be something as simple as like, oh my gosh, you like Doritos? I like Doritos too. Just by virtue of the fact that we both like the same thing, I'm willing to share something like that. Or, for example, I have children that are on the spectrum. When I'm working with clients and they have children that are on the spectrum, I will drop that little nugget into a conversation. It's like, oh yeah, you know what? My son's on the spectrum and da 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 da. Not making it about me, but letting them know, hey, I understand from a different space what you're going through, and also opening the door. If you want to ask me questions about it, I'm here. I'm happy to talk about it. Right now, am I going to sit there and talk to them all about my child's diagnosis and whatnot? Probably not. But I will be happy to share tips that I've learned along the way or parts of my journey, which will help us build more of a relationship. Another one is dependability. Dependability is actually a really important one, especially for the young people that we work with, because their definition of dependability and our definition of dependability are kind of two different things these days. So teaching people about dependability and how you won't really have support systems if you don't show up for your support systems, right? And so that is a very, like we both have to be in on this commitment together. Which brings me to reciprocity, which is not if I do something nice for you, you should do something nice for me. But the theory of reciprocity really says that when I do something nice for you, there's a much greater likelihood that you're going to do something nice for me. And so that helps us kind of build those systems when we're thinking about that. Now, don't do something nice for somebody so they do something nice for you. But if I'm sitting at home and feeling kind of lonely or isolated or anxious or depressed, and then I reach out to somebody who's moving, and I say, hey, you know what? I'm just sitting around. Do you want some help? Right. So then I go and I help them. There's a much greater likelihood that in the future, if I need something, that person will be there for me. And that's the theory of reciprocity. Then there's flexibility. And so flexibility is one of the biggest challenges when it comes to connection support these days. Because if you haven't noticed, we're somewhat polarized in our thinking these days. And so when I'm inflexible, I break relationships. Right. If you think about some of the people in your life that maybe you used to be close with, they have different views than you. We don't talk that much anymore, right? And so that inflexibility has broken some of our support systems. And there's research that, in the 1990s, we had 4 deep ties, those strong ties, and now we're at about 2. And some of the speculation is because we have become more and more polarized. And then the last element is around positivity. And so it just makes a lot of sense. When you're more positive, people are more drawn to you. You're more likely to, build support systems and have connection.